Welcome to the 92 Junior Worlds, where we'll meet more stars of the future. This was a special competition back in 1978 for a young Canadian pair. They won the junior gold medal. Then in '84, became world champions. Their names, Barbara Underhill and Paul Martini. Barb, what do you remember of that 1978 competition?
Well, the Junior Worlds is really a skater's initiation onto the world scene. And I remember it as being a very, very exciting time. The first time you wear your Canadian team blazer and you compete for your country and you skate against skaters from all over the world. It's very exciting, and it's also a great learning experience.
Paul, it's often been said, but I think it rings true here, that the competitive level of the World Juniors keeps going up every year.
Well, Chris, this competition has certainly changed over the years. Initially, it was considered a one-time appearance for most skaters. You then went on to other senior-level competitions. However, at this year's Junior Worlds, we have a number of skaters who have returned for their second, and some are here for their third appearance at the Junior World event. As a result, the level of skating is greatly improved.
Today we'll have competition in the men's category, and we'll also have the pairs competition. That's where we begin with two rising stars. They've won 2 junior gold medals, Natalia Kristyaninova and Alexei Torchinsky.
Natalia Kristyaninova, Alexei Torchinsky.
Here are the two-time defending world junior champions from the Soviet Union, Natalia Kristyaninova and Alexei Torchinsky.
In watching this team earlier today in practice, we're going to see a performance that sets this team head and shoulders above the balance of the competition here tonight.
That was an absolutely gorgeous double twist, lots of height, and he caught her before she landed, which is very important. Here comes the double axel. Nice. This is the program that they performed last year at the Junior World Championship, so I'm sure that they're very settled in the program, and it certainly looks that way. This team is the fact that they really look like they're having a good time out there. She's smiling, he's smiling, and they really project to the crowd.
They are demonstrating the basic qualities that make up a quality pair team. Their unison is excellent. They know where each other are at all times, and they perform knowing that their partner is always going to be where they need them to be when they need them to be there.
A thundering ovation from the crowd here in Hall 4, the two-time defending world junior champion, Natalia Kristyaninova and Alexei Torchinsky, seasoned veterans at age 17.
Here's a look at that double twist. Look at that great height. He catches her above his head, and she lands very softly, very clean twist.
Here we're going to look at the side-by-side double axles. You see, he wasn't exactly on top of his landing foot, but from his experience, he just sat on it, waited for everything to come through, and a well-executed side-by-side jump.
Paul Paul, what I also noted was the tempo. It was obviously at a high rate for these two compared with the competitors that they'll be up against.
Well, in the classic Russian style, they covered the ice well, moved smoothly, and moved strongly throughout the program.
From Leningrad, now St. Petersburg again. Here are the first set of marks ready to come up on the board, required elements, and there they are. 5-1 from the British judge, but all the way up to 5-7 from the Dutch judge. And the defending champions are off to a great start in Hull.
Well, they certainly showed the poise of the defending world champions, and they show the qualities that are going to make them a top senior team next year.
They expect the marks for presentation to be about the same, if not higher. That they are. So Krestyaninova and Torchinsky are off to a great start in defense of their World Junior title. Here's the first of two Canadian pairs in the World Junior competition. From Rimouski, Quebec, Julie Laporte, 14 years of age, and 17-year-old David Peltier.
I can remember what a thrill it was for us to skate in our home country at a major international like this, and I know what it meant to me. I can only hope that it does the same for these two young skaters.
Here's the first of the 8 required elements, the double twist lift. Quite a bit of a lean, but that was complete. Remember that there are 8 required elements, and if any of the elements is failed to be completed, or if there's a mistake, there is a deduction, and quite a large deduction depending on the elements.
Nicely executed tabletop into a star lift. You'll see this evening that the lift is of the skater's choice, so we will see many variations, but the lift is a required element in this program. The performance struck me as one in which there was a certain degree of hesitation throughout it. They really didn't seem to attack it. I felt confident that they could do the elements. They executed them all. The side-by-side jump had a small problem, but they just didn't seem to really go out and attack the program.
Here's a look at one of the better moves that they did, the platter lift into the star position. They had really great ice coverage, and she has a really nice position in the air.
This was their final element in the program, the forward inside death spiral. And here's an example. You can look at his right arm. It's bent. And it's one of the things that the judges are going to look at, and that's what's going to decipher the really good ones from the really bad ones. The little details such as that bent arm, which don't quite give them the nice line and the speed that they should have in that element.
Julie Laporte and David Peltier have been skating together for 3 years. In 1991, they were the bronze medalists in the novice competition. And they await their first marks in an international competition. You talked about performing in front of their crowd, Paul. The music certainly gave them the opportunity to get the crowd on their side. And there are the first set of marks. They go up to a 5.0 from the Swiss judge. I think they've got to be pretty happy with these marks.
Well, the artistic impression does come up a little bit, and I think that shows you there that they need some work on their technical moves, and I think that this is a team that we may see a little more of in the future.
There are the presentation marks up to a 5.2 from the Swiss judge, but third place marks for Laporte and Peltier of Canada. The second Canadian pair, Carolyn Haddad and Jean-Sébastien Fecteau of Montreal, and they have their eyes on a medal. They've been skating together 6 years, for 7th place last year at the World Juniors.
This team practiced well today earlier, and I think if things can go well for them, we certainly will see them in a medal position here.
A clean element. I spoke to their coach earlier today after their practice, Richard Gauthier, and he said that watch Caroline when she gets in front of a crowd. He said she can't land the double axel in practice, but she gets in front of a crowd and she has no problem.
This by far has to be one of the longest pair spins here in the competition. They've demonstrated a great variety of positions throughout this element.
Unison that they have on those spins. It's very important when the judges are comparing them to the other skaters. The next element is the double twist. Well, I really like the energy of this program.
They've gone out and they've attacked it. There hasn't been an element, aside from the double axel, which they approached somewhat cautiously, but still executed. But this is a strong performance. Nice line in that forward inside death spiral. And I think it's one that the judges are going to have to regard highly here tonight.
Well, the crowd sure likes it.
I had the opportunity to work with these two years ago, and I can't believe the improvement. I know that she's grown up. She's a lot more mature. Here's a look at those double axles. Watch his landing. Is a little bit far forward on the toe. And here's that great combination spin.
They must execute at least 8 revolutions in the pair spin, and this team does 8 with little difficulty.
Just keeps going and going and going. I think they're going to be very, very pleased with that performance.
There's their coach, Richard Gauthier, and he was saying she has that ability to sparkle when the crowd is watching her, and she really does seem to have that knack, and it's something I'm sure you can't teach, and it's a real asset for this pair.
Well, she certainly practices much differently than she competes, and that's a variable which is often underestimated.
She's just 14, he's 16, and here come the marks for Haddad and Fekto. Required elements, and they're all in the 5s, up to a 5-5 from the Dutch judge. They were hoping for a medal, and right now, with those marks, they could stand second. Even they're applauding. Well, if the presentation marks are that high, they could be in second place, and here they come. And 2 more 5-5s, and Haddad and Fekto have beaten one of the Soviet pairs, and right now stand in second place after the original program. So no surprise, Kristianinova and Torchinsky lead the way, but Haddad and Fekto of Canada right behind them, and Laporte and Pelletier give Canada 2 in the top 5. When we return to home, flashback to 1985 at the World Junior Championships in Colorado Springs, and the emergence of Soviet stars Gordieva and Grinkov, soon to become 3-time world champions and 88 Olympic gold medalists.
Les prochains concurrents.
Here's our young Canadian pair, Julie Laporte, 14 years of age, and David Pelletier, 17, from Rimouski, greeted to the ice with a nice cheer. They're currently in 5th place.
Well, they had an excellent performance last night in the short program, and I think skating in front of their home country in the province of Quebec, which is home for them, this should really do something, and I think we should see an excellent skate from this young pair this evening.
Well, you have to remember that these are novice skaters. They've never even been in a junior competition. Somebody asked them the other day what they were going to go home to work on, and they said, well, this is a great stepping stone for us for Canadians, and they're still going home to a Canadian novice championship, so this is great experience for this team.
Enjoying their selection of music. This is a selection, it's all Glenn Miller material. It's something that you would probably not be overwhelmed with if you're at the senior level, but here at a junior level, it seems most appropriate. It's well within their range, and it's doing a very nice job to it.
Well, I was talking to their coach, David Graham, earlier today, and he was saying that they absolutely love skating to this program, which helps a great deal when you're out there competing. About this team is the fact that they're skating a program which is well within their capability. I'm sure they're working on more difficult lifts and more difficult throws, but they're doing stuff that they can do well, and I think it's going to work for them quite nicely. to the last move. Nonetheless, though, I'm sure these two will be very pleased with this performance.
Well, to have done such a fine job at their first international must be a thrill for them, and they have most certainly given this hometown crowd a thrill with their effort here this evening. Well, no doubt that they're going to be excited. Skated well. They had an excellent short last evening. They skated well here this evening, and here on the replay we're going to see the throw triple sow, which was one of the best elements that they executed here tonight.
She gets good height in the air, nice position. She opens up a little bit early, and she's low in the landing, but she really pulls that off. And here we're going to look at their platter lift, which was a nice lift towards the end of the program, into the cartwheel. I think they've really got to be pleased with this, and they'll go into the Canadian Novice Championships with a lot more confidence.
Again, their last major competition was the National Novice Championships last year, and they were in third here at their first international competition, in 5th place at the World Juniors, and I would expect that that performance was enough to consolidate that position.
I would think that we're going to see marks that are going to hold them where they are in this particular long program.
Let's find out as we get the marks for Julie Laporte and David Pelletier of Rimouski, Quebec. And the first set of marks from 4-7 up to a 5-1 from the American judge for technical merit. One more set of marks like that, and it should be enough to keep them in 5th place. Well, they like the marks as they are about to come up. Second set up to a 5-2 from the Swiss judge. And so Laporte and Pelletier of Canada remain in 5th place.
Les prochains concurrents de l'Union soviétique, Soviet Union, Natalia Krestianinova, Alexei Torchinsky.
11 of the 16 gold medals won in the pairs competition at the World Juniors have gone to Soviets the last 2 years. To this pair, Natalia Krestianinova and Alexei Torchinsky going for their 3rd consecutive World Junior gold, and they are the leaders after the short program.
This team really is head and shoulders above the rest, and the fact that they do have the experience, they do have 2 World Junior Championships behind them already, they could compete well at a senior rank.
An absolutely gorgeous split triple twist to open this program, and that element alone shows that they're definitely head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. As we watch this program, look for the unison. Look at how close they stay in relationship to each other throughout the entire program. Be it a lift, a jump, anything, they're always right in close to each other.
That was a beautiful throw triple toe loop. She did touch down on the landing, but nonetheless, it was absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure if they can pick it up and get back into the program, they'll be fine. talented, but even with the one mistake, I still think that it was enough to win this competition.
Well, there's no doubt that the basic unison and the basic pair qualities that this team possesses are going to hold them in first. Here's a look at the opening split triple twist. Wonderful height. Nicely caught by the man. Nice extension on the landing. In this replay, we're going to take a look at another one of their outstanding throws. This is the throw triple toe loop, and just watch the distance that this element gets.
She had just absolutely gorgeous height on that throw, and as well on the throw triple Salchow. And it seems like she almost has too much height. It's tough for her to hold on to those landings.
Already two-time gold medalist, and she is just 16. Alexei is 17. And when we say we're watching the stars of the future, I think it's very appropriate in this couple's case. Like true champions, they don't appear to be really happy with the performance that wasn't perfect, but those marks look awfully good. Up to a 5-7 from the Polish judge for technical merit.
Aside from the mistakes tonight, I just think that this pair has so much potential. They have such great unison and great flow together. I just think we're going to see a lot of them in the future.
And the marks for artistic impression from a 5-3 from the British judge up to the 5-7 for the Polish judge, and they are the leaders, Kreszczynova and Torczynski. Our young Canadian couple, Carolyn Haddad and Jean-Sebastian Fechtel, they are currently in second place. Perhaps the Soviets have left the door open to think about gold. The last time Canadians won gold at the World Junior in the pairs competition, it was 1978, and the pair was Underhill and Martini.
Executed, however, she had difficulty on the landing and had to touch down. And again, it's these little mistakes, if they continue, will prevent them from overtaking the Russians.
Father is Lebanese, and they wanted a Middle Eastern feel to this music, and the crowd has certainly responded.
Well, it's nice to see them try and integrate the entire package, from the music to the costume to the choreography, and that's the kind of thing you must start working on at this level if you hope to be successful at the senior level.
Coach Richard says if they land this, it's home free. Oh, she was on a big lean on the takeoff and just couldn't complete the rotation. That's too bad. As she was last night. She seems a little bit shaky. She keeps hitting her toe picks at strange times. I think she might be a little bit nervous tonight.
Yeah, in watching the two of them skate, I've noticed he seemed to have settled into the program, and that happens some nights. You can't count on both people settling in the same way. He obviously has. He looks comfortable, but she is having some difficulty keeping her feet underneath her. Performance. We were looking at a team who is obviously hoping for a better skate here tonight, hoping to possibly take over the Soviets. However, with the mistakes that they had happen to them, I don't think we're going to see much. They're going to vault them into first position here tonight.
Here we're going to take a look at the split triple twist. Gets nice height up into the air. She did land on 2 feet, unfortunately. I didn't notice that during the program. And now we're going to take a look at the throw double axel, one of the nicer elements in the program. She gets right over top of herself and lands it without a problem. I think they were a little bit surprised placing second in the short program, and I think all of a sudden they realized this is what pressure's all about.
I mean, when you have the potential to win and knowing that you're in there and knowing that a good skate could possibly put you at the top of the podium, thoughts that never perhaps had entered your head before are suddenly there, and everyone reacts differently to that kind of situation.
I asked John Sebastian about that. I said, is the pressure off because you did so well, or is there more pressure now that you can win? And he thought about it and smiled and said, I'll tell you after we skate tonight.
Well, he looked comfortable out there. I thought he skated as comfortably as he could with the program, and that's what pair skating sometimes does. You both just don't settle in as well as you would hope.
Canadians have not won a medal in this competition in the pairs since '81, Lloyd Eisler and Laurie Beyer. But those look like medal marks for Haddad and Fecteau. Up to a 5-4 from the Polish judge, and those marks are second place marks right across the board. So they've all but locked up a medal here. Now the second set. And just a tad higher for Haddad and Fecteau. It wasn't their best effort, but I'm sure they're quite proud here as they settle in on a medal. There is one more challenge to the gold medal. Svetlana Pristov and Vyacheslav Tkachenko of the Soviet Union, twice runners-up in the World Junior Pairs competition. Last year they moved from 4th place to the silver. This year they'll try to move from 3rd place to the gold medal position.
In watching this team practice throughout the week and watching their programs, I'm quite surprised of the style that this particular team has in light of who coaches them. Alexander Zaitsev is their coach, and he was one of the first to exercise that style of real strength, strong driving skating. And this team has that plus a subtle touch to them, which is nice to see. Beautiful opening split triple twist, and it's clear that they've got the technical requirements to be a contender here tonight.
Almost disastrous on the fall. It almost looked like he could have hit her with his blade. It was very close. she may have touched down on the landing. It just seems to me, though, that this team seems to skate on eggshells. They don't really push when they stroke, and I would have thought that from the team that takes from Alexander Zaitsev.
About the speed of this team has been quite accurate. They came out looking strong. However, from the very first 30 seconds, it looks like they've been stuck on one speed and haven't changed since then.
It was a nice program, but I felt it was overly cautious. And I think if you want to come out and impress the judges, you've got to go gangbusters.
Especially when it's your last chance at gold at this level.
And after finishing second here twice, you would have thought they would have been a bit more aggressive than what they showed here.
I also think that they're not as strong as single skaters. Here's a look at the throw triple Salchow. Let's see if she did touch down. Yeah, she definitely did touch with the free leg there. So technically, they're not bad skaters, but I really... You know, I expect more of Soviet skaters as individual skaters, and you just don't see that in this team.
Question now, perhaps not do they have enough to catch their teammates Kristianova and Torchinsky, but do they have enough to get ahead of Haddad and Fekto for the silver medal?
Yes, I'd have to think that if they remain where they are currently in third position, that must be viewed as a major disappointment for this team after having the experience of being here twice before and being in the silver medal position.
And Paul, the weight is quite noticeable here for the marks as opposed to their last few, which means the judges may be pondering this a little more. I think we're ready for the first set of marks. And here they come. And they do not look high enough to unseat Haddad and Fekto.
Now, the performance was lackluster, and I think the marks reflect that.
Here the second set, they're just a bit higher, but they are 6 third-place marks among the judges, and so Haddad and Fekto of Canada will win the silver medal. Kristianova and Torchinsky take gold. Kristev and Kachenko will win the bronze. Add to that an impressive 5th-place finish for the youngsters Laporte and Pelletier in their first international competition. And in all, a very satisfying performance by the Canadian pairs.
We're very happy.
Jean-Sebastian, was there a lot of pressure skating here in front of the home crowd? You seem so relaxed.
No, the crowd was with us, so it wasn't a bad factor for us. It was kind of encouraging having all the people cheering for you. It was good.
Were you coming in hoping for just a medal? Did you think a second-place finish was possible?
Coming here, we didn't think about medals. We think about skating good, making 2 good programs, and the judges decided we should have silver. we're glad with that.
Carolyn, could you talk about the skate tonight?
We're very happy, but we can do it better to the Saga. I don't know what happened, but we're very happy.
Are you encouraged about the future now with such a good result here?
Yes, now it's next competition is going to be Canadians, and we're looking forward to this one.
Congratulations again. We're all very proud of the way you skated.
Thank you very much.
A great moment for Canadian junior skating. We haven't won a medal at this event since 1981 in pairs, or only gold Underhill and Martini in 1978. First medal for a Canadian junior pair in 10 years. Barb, a great result for Haddad and Facto.
Well, not only that, but the fact that we had 2 finishes in the top 5 looks very promising for Canadian pair skating in the future. As well, because we did have a top 3 finish, we will be able to send 3 teams to next year's Junior Worlds in Korea.
A Soviet gold medal, and Paul, they're talking about a gold for the Soviets in the men's competition as well.
Well, Chris, the Soviets have sent 3 very strong men to this competition. Dmitrenko, Plyuta, and Kostin all have looked extremely strong in practice, and any one of these men could win the title here this week.
And we might also see a quad as well. That's the men's competition still to come today. But right now, let's go back to Sports Weekend Control. We begin our coverage of the men's competition, and here's Jeffrey Langdon, the lone Canadian entry. Jeffrey was a disappointing 16th yesterday in the original program. I think nerves caught up to him a bit.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about Jeffrey all week long. He's been practicing really, really well. But as he came out for a short program yesterday, he just didn't seem to have the attack, the confidence that is needed, and he will need that here today.
Jeffrey, like so many of the men in the original, had difficulty in the original program, and here we can see he's off to a fine start today.
Well, he has a packed program planned today. He has 6 triples in all. Jeff keeps this performance up, he really has a shot at cracking the top 10 here today. His jump today. It just seems like a different Jeffrey Langdon out here today than we saw yesterday.
Yesterday, he was the very first skater, and it was his first international competition, and I think those 2 factors compounded the nerves.
Looked like he just didn't get enough height on that jump, and it was, as a result, he couldn't finish the rotation in time before he landed.
our skaters. And this is Jeffrey's first international competition, and I think no matter where he finishes after this long program, he's shown that he has the potential to go places, and I think we should be proud of his efforts here today.
Triple toe, double toe combination. He seems like he's picked up speed towards the end of the program.
Canadian junior champion, Canadian Winter Games gold medalist, Jeffrey Langdon.
Well, here in replay, we're going to take a look at that first jump, his triple Lutz, which was wonderfully executed and got him off to a great start.
Jeffrey Langdon pour le mérite de technique, technical merit. 5-2, 5-2, 5-2, 5-3, 5-1, 5-1.
Well, Jeffrey hasn't left the ice. He's picking up flowers while the marks are announced, and he'll be happy about that. Great set of technical marks. And while we wait for the second set, a reminder, the Canadian Figure Skating Hall of Fame induction dinner, Saturday, January 25th, honoring the likes of Barbara Ann Scott, Cecil Smith, Sheldon Galbraith, Donald Cruikshank, and George Blunden. For more information, call the CFSA office as we see the second set of marks. So Jeffrey Langdon started 16th, but he will move up with an impressive long program. And we will have the leaders when Sports Weekend continues after this.
5-0.
Excellent job. Excellent job.
Paul, we should make mention, there is the leader, Dmitry Dimitrenko, and the top American, Damon Allen, going through their final preparations. But what a terrific performance by the young Canadian, Jeffrey Langdon. He still has 3 first-place marks amongst the judges for the long program and has moved so far from 16th after the original down to 11th spot.
Well, depending upon the performance of this last group of men, Jeffrey still has an outside chance of cracking the top 10, thus enabling us to send 2 skaters to this event next year in Korea.
Well, get ready, because there could be some fireworks in this last flight. Here is the leader, head and shoulders above the field during the original program. He's 18-year-old Dmitry Dimitrenko from Kiev in the Soviet Union. And all the Soviets had a strong practice this morning. 3 Soviets in the top 4 as we head to the long program.
Well, there's the potential here to see these Soviet men sweep this event. And with this skater, here is someone who is certainly in first place, and I got the feeling is going to stay there.
Well, I have to say that in our experience in international competition, the Soviet men have had a history of inconsistency. Well, we'll see what happens here. Opens with a beautiful triple axel. What a great start.
Jumpers I have seen here this week. When he gets up into the air, his feet are tight, his arms are crossed, across his chest. Just watch. Oh, beautiful positioning in his jumps.
Well, there's no doubt when you see that position in the air that they are going to land the jump. Triple flip. Looked like he didn't quite get the height that he needed, but nonetheless, it was a landed element. but also with everything in between. He seems to have a total package here, and it's not very often you see that at a junior world level.
Well, his presentation is just excellent, and this is only his second international competition, and to have that kind of presence and presentation on the ice at this point in his career only means that he can look forward to bigger and better things.
I can't believe he just tried a triple axel into a triple toe loop at the end of his program. This is virtually a flawless performance. I think we're looking at the leader here. You can see that he puts effort into every little move that he does, except for that. Little problem there towards the end on the double flip.
He's excited, and he has every reason to be excited. That's probably one of, if not the most difficult program we will see out here today. He skated it strongly, it was well presented, and a complete package, which is always nice to see.
Here's a look at that triple, the first triple axel he tried. Absolutely perfect technique on that.
Here in the second replay, we're going to see that same jumping combination. Note how tight his position is in the air. He gets out, little half loop, step, one more step, back up into a triple toe loop.
And the fact that that was at the 3-minute mark in his program is amazing.
Well, look at those marks. 5.8s and 5.7s. First place technical marks right across the board. And what did we say about seeing the stars of the future? Remember the name Dmitry Dimitrenko. Second set of marks are even better. The leader after the original program is the leader now into the long program, and he is going to be very difficult to catch.
Well, he has certainly set the pace for this last group of men here at the World Junior Championships.
The last 3 years, the Soviet has won the Junior World Men's Competition. Here is the younger teammate of Dimitrenko, Evgeny Pliuta, also of Kiev, 17 years of age. And right now, he stands in second, but it will be a tall order for him to catch his teammate Dimitrenko.
Well, I was also impressed in practice with this young man's jumping ability. He has just a flawless technique, and if he can hold it together under the pressure, he's going to give it a fight. Opening with the triple axel. And a problem on the landing. It looked nice and tight in the air, and he just couldn't get the free leg out. Combination.
It's ironic, even Viktor Petrenko has been criticized for not having the combinations that we've seen from his younger teammates. The future bright in the Soviet Union for their men's skating.
I don't know what happened there. It just seemed like he didn't know where he was in the air on the landing.
As opposed to his teammate, Dmitry, I found this program to be not quite as aggressive. He seems to be going into these jumps a little bit more hesitant and not quite pushing them through as hard as he should.
And a single flip jump should have been a triple, but I think we've seen the best of what we're going to see in this program. I get the impression he's just sort of given up out there. We haven't seen anything in the past minute, and he seems to have been losing stamina and just doesn't seem to be able to push any of these elements through anymore. Well, as opposed to Dimitri, who gave effort on every single step and move. That was a nice triple loop, though. I just don't see the energy on the in-between steps that we saw with Dimitri's program. Looking at his face because I see nothing. I don't see any emotion at all throughout the face. And often you look to a skater's face during the program to see what they're feeling. A triple Lutz tried at the 4-minute mark in the program. Certainly not anywhere near the strength of Dimitri's program.
We will have the marks for Evgeny Pliuta of the Soviet Union when we return to Hull for more of the 1992 World Junior Figure Skating Championships. Hull, Evgeny Pliuta's marks, second place marks from each of the 9 judges, but for the American who has him ranked 3rd. As we continue our live coverage of the junior men's program, and look out because this young man is exciting. Konstantin Kostin, an 18-year-old from Moscow. And when we watched him skate in his first practice a few days ago, Kurt Browning came to mind, especially after we watched 3 perfect quad jumps. We might see one here. Well, he has a style very similar to Kurt as a younger skater. He's a little bit reckless, and that's what makes him so exciting. Right now, he's 4th, but with a chance to move up.
And here comes the quad. Close. I thought he had that. Well, Barb, as I sit here thinking back of it in my mind, I just came at loss for words as to why he missed it. He was on top of it, and it almost looked like he had so much torque, so much rotation that he just couldn't get out of it and hang on to the landing.
It would have been the first quad in World Junior history.
when a skater plans a major jump like a quad, the rest of the program tends to suffer afterwards. But I think that we've seen this program really get back on track here.
He must be concentrating very hard on the triples that are in this program. I'm impressed by the way he continues to try to skate to his music and not through it. And that's a sign of someone who is beginning to understand what the element of interpretation is all about in figure skating.
I am really amazed. That was a triple flip double toe at the 3-minute mark. These Soviets really seem to have the ability to hold on to the very end of this program, these programs.
Outstanding technical performance. He had some flaws along the way, but he's set a standard here. He's attempted and came very close to executing the very first quad in the Junior World Competition. It's something that this whole rink will talk about, and here we can watch it in replay and see why he doesn't execute it. It's landed, and then he loses his edge. He's just too far back on the heel of his skate and can't maintain that edge.
I think he thought he had that.
Here we're going to look at one of his successful elements, the triple Lutz jump. He sets it up, gets his bearings, plants the toe up, nice tight air position, nicely executed landing.
It's a long way from Caroline, Alberta to Moscow, but you wonder about the influence Kurt Browning's had on this youngster's career. Konstantin Kostin, he was fourth coming into this long program, and let's see how much he can move up. First set of marks, 5-3s up to 5-5s.
The one thing he didn't perform was a triple axel in this program. Maybe that's why they brought the technical marks a little bit lower.
Here the artistic marks and a 5-1 from the American judge, who has him ranked 5th during the long program. That's a surprise. The Canadian judge up to a 5-6. So Kostin right now makes it 1, 2, 3 Soviets: Dimitrenko, Pliuta, and Kostin. In the last 13 years of this competition, the Soviet...
Chris, once again, the Soviets are very well represented here in Hull. They've got 3 extremely strong teams here, led by the former 1990 Junior World Champions Anissina and Averbuhk, who, with a change of coach, are looking to regain that title.
But despite that, the Canadians feel that they can win a medal here.
Yes, we have 2 very promising teams here representing us in Martine Michaud and Sylvain Leclerc, who are making their Junior Worlds debut, as well Amélie Dion and Alexandra Alain, who were placed 8th last year at the Junior Worlds and are hoping for a medal this year. As
we've seen before, it's very important to get off to a good start in dance, and we begin with the first compulsory dance and the 1990 World Junior Champions, Marina Anissina and Ilya Averbuhk.
In the rocker foxtrot, the judges are looking for very soft, lilting knees and crisp, deeply skated edges. As well as with all compulsories, timing is very important.
interesting to note that throughout the year, these skaters must practice 4 of these compulsory dances. However, it is not until they arrive at the competition, at the official draw, when they find out which 2 of the 4 they will be skating. This year, the 2 drawn for the Junior Worlds is this dance, the rocker foxtrot, and we will later see the quick step.
And remember that each team skates the exact same pattern, and that's why you can see those patterns of the other skaters on the ice.
And the Soviet couple posted the highest score for the rocker foxtrot. In third place, heading to the second compulsory dance, here's the Canadian couple, Emily Dion and Alexandra Alain, and their version of the quick step.
Well, this dance is called the quick step because of the quick, short, precise edges as opposed to the long and deep edges of the rocker foxtrot.
Important things the judges are looking for in this dance is as little movement as possible between the 2 skaters. And here Alexander and Amelie are doing a very fine job of keeping the movement between the 2 of them down to an absolute minimum.
Compulsory dances, the Canadian couple was in third place, while Anissina and Averbuhk were the leaders heading to the original dance. And right behind the 1990 Junior World Gold medalists, their Soviet teammates, Necheva and Chesnochenko. Dion and Alain were third in both the foxtrot and quick step, and a great...
Alexandre Alain du Canada.
2 years ago, Marie-France Dubray and Bruno Ibarra of Canada won a bronze medal in the dance competition at the World Juniors, and in third place after 2 compulsory dances, another Canadian pair, Emily Dion and Alexandra Alain.
Well, here we're looking at the original dance portion of the competition. It's worth 30% of their total marks, and the prescribed rhythm this year is the polka.
And one of the very few restrictions that are presented to these skaters in this element of the competition is that it must be a completely original version of what they think a polka is, and they can use the entire ice surface as opposed to the old OSP or original set pattern, which was a prescribed dance which had specific boundaries in which they had to execute the dance.
polka dance is the fun and just the fact that it's a boisterous and a happy feeling dance. And I think a big part of it is the presentation of it. They really need to know how to perform the dance.
With Emil and Alexandra, they are making their second appearance here at the Junior World Championships, and I think in the dance event, and more than any other, it's the maturity and the confidence that these skaters show that's going to separate those from who are going to stand on the podium from those who are just not going to be in contention here.
Prior to displaying the marks for any part of an event, the referee and assistant referee ask the judges their marks.
In the original dance, the first set of marks are the marks for composition. They reflect the originality and the difficulty of the steps, whereas the presentation marks reflect the timing and the interpretation of the dance.
Trip to the World Juniors, their first was an 8th place finish, and the first set of marks for Emily Dion and Alexandra Alain. The marks ranging from 5-2 to a 5-4 from the American judge. Currently in 3rd place and vying for a medal. The Soviets are 1-2. And here are the presentation marks, and they're a bit higher, up to 5-5 from the Austrian judge. So Amelie Dion and Alexandra Alain in the original dance with 2 sets of good marks.
5-4, 5-4, 5-4, 5-5, 5-4. Martine Michaud, Sylvain Leclerc du Canada.
Here's the second Canadian couple, Martine Michaud and Sylvain Leclerc of Laval. 6th after the first compulsory dance, 5th after the second.
And like so many of the skaters here, this is their first international competition. And for them, it's got to be a big thrill to skate in front of a hometown crowd. And you can only expect and hope that things will go well for them and they can build on this experience.
At a junior level, this is their first junior competition. They seem very, very comfortable out there on the ice, and you would never know that they've never ever competed at a junior level. Accused of perhaps not being ready for a competition, but I think their coach, Louis Nadeau, has to be congratulated on having this team in just excellent shape for this particular competition. An excellent performance, Barb, and I think with Canadian dancers both sitting in the top 10, there's their coach, Louis Nadeau, looking pleased. I think we should be pleased that we've got such depth at the junior level in dancing this year. It's interesting, you commented earlier, Barb, on their maturity, and you're right. For a junior team, they've really done a fine job here showing, I think, something that all skaters strive for. Sometimes it takes a little longer for others, but this team certainly is showing the potential of being a serious contender in the future. Well, we know what it's like to perform for the first time at an international level. And it really is nerve-wracking. These kids were here to gain information, to learn, to experience, and they looked like they were having a great time out there.
You wonder if skating at home has been a big advantage for them. There's certainly all of the Canadian skaters so far have used it as an advantage. These two have been skating together for 3 years. And here come the first set of marks for composition. And you see the 5-3 from the American judge. 3 5-0s, 5-2 from the German judge. Martin Michaud and Sylvain Leclerc. Now the second set of marks, and they're higher right across the board, so good scores. Second place marks so far for Michaud and Leclerc of Canada behind their teammates, Dion and Alain.
4-9, 5-1, 5-3, 5-0. From the Soviet Union.
In second place after the compulsory dances from the Soviet Union, Yaroslava Necheva and Yuri Chesnochenko from Moscow.
Well, we've seen how the Canadian teams interpret a polka, but it should be interesting to see how a Soviet interprets a polka dance.
I think this team is a nice example of why the Soviets are always contenders in the dance event. They have an intricacy of steps that's highly difficult, technically difficult, and yet maintain very nice flow and speed across the ice.
But they also at all times know where the other skater is, where some of the younger pairs are sometimes fighting for position. They're always in the right position at the right time.
Again, Barbara, it's always impressive the way the Soviets come to a competition prepared to compete. They skated strongly. I think it was a good dance, and it'll be interesting to see what the judges score it.
Well, I think this was probably the most difficult polka that we'll see here this afternoon. Here's a look at some of the intricacies. They had a lot of turns, a lot of very difficult steps over top of each other. Under pressure, these steps are very difficult to perform, as we know. The more nervous you get, the more easy it is to trip. And with all these intricate turns, it's very easy to hit a toe catch.
Paul, you mentioned the Soviet domination. They've won 14 consecutive World Junior gold medals. And here come the marks for Necheva and Chesnochenko. And they're the best marks we've seen so far. A 5-2 from the Canadian judge, up to 5-6 from the Austrian judge. 5-5, 5-4, 5-6, 5-4. Currently in second place behind Anissina and Averbuhk, their teammates, and there are the presentation marks. The Austrian judge giving them the highest mark at 5-7, but those are first place marks from 8 of the 9 judges so far.
5-6, 5-5, 5-7, 5-5. Marina Anissina, Ilya Averbuhk, de l'Union soviétique, from the Soviet Union.
Here are the leaders after the two compulsory dances. The 1990 World Junior Champions, Marina Anissina and Ilya Averbuhk. Last year they were fourth, so they're trying to regain the championship they won 2 years ago.
Well, I'll be quite interested to see how this performance goes for this couple, because earlier today in practice, they did not exactly have a good practice. They were having some trouble with some steps. She was having difficulty, actually hit the boards once during the practice. So let's sit back and watch and see how they do. Russian fashion, Barb, this original dance is full of some very difficult, very intricate steps, yet at the same time they're maintaining excellent speed across the ice with good flow and excellent ice coverage.
Well, Paul, to reflect the style, the character of a polka, there really are only so many steps you can do, like you see right now, lots of heel-toe steps, and in certain positions, arm positions. And it's interesting that really this dance is a lot up to the choreographer, because it's up to the choreographer to give them originality, to be different than all the rest of them.
And because there are only a certain number of steps that they will be able to execute to give it a polka feel, the challenge is in the judges panel in deciding which of these teams best utilizes those steps and comes up with the best original dance and mark it accordingly. Well, certainly their practice of earlier today was not a good indication of how they were going to perform here in the competition. I thought they did an excellent job, showed excellent presence on the ice, and looked like a team that could certainly regain the title here.
Here's a look at some of those intricate steps, turns under the arm, lots of hops.
And the story behind them is that after last year's fourth place finish, following their championship win the previous year, that they felt that a coaching change was in order, and as a result are now taking from Natalia Linenchuk, who is one of the former top Russian ice dancers and now a coach who has had, I believe, the previous 3 or perhaps 4 World Junior Champions.
And here they are with their coach, Natalia Linenchuk.
And as you mentioned earlier, it is so important, at least at the ice dance level, because choreography is everything. And you have to have a coach and a choreographer that can give you the material to go out there and show the world what you can really do.
They were first after the compulsory dances. Barb, you mentioned originality. We saw 3 different polkas from the 3 different Soviet couples, and there are the first set of marks for composition for Anissina and Averbuhk, and those are the best marks we have seen so far.
Well, I think they certainly reflect the difficulty and intricacy of the steps that this couple showed in their version of the polka.
And I think the marks for the presentation definitely will come up a little bit.
And there they are, up to 5/8 from the Czechoslovakian, the Italian judge, and a 5-9 from the Austrian judge. So Anissina and Averbuhk maintain their first place position ahead of Necheva and Chesnachenko of the Soviet Union. Dion and the land of Canada are third. The Soviets are traditionally strong in dance, and they finish 1, 2, and 4, but a strong performance from the Canadians as well. In the last 14 years, Soviets have won 14 golds, 10 silver, and 3 bronze in the dance competition. 2 years ago, the golds went to Anissina and Averbuhk. Last year, they slipped to 4th place, but going into their free program, they're back on top, skating for another gold medal.
Chris, you mentioned the depth that the Soviet Union has in ice dancing. And going over the record of this event, since its inception, I'm surprised at the number of skaters who have appeared here, won the event, and yet have never made an appearance at the Senior World Competition. By the manner in which they have been able to interpret different tempo, different character, different speed of music. And I think it's something that in a junior team we don't see very often, and I think it could mean the difference between those teams that place off the podium and this team, which is going to stay at the top of the podium.
Well, I really noticed that the program started a little slow, and it gradually built and built towards the climax at the end.
No doubt, having appeared here at 2 previous Junior World Championships has been a big asset to this team, and I think the maturity they show is a direct result of that experience. One of the things the judges are looking for is quality of skating, difficulty of steps, and I think this replay shows you that they've got a fairly good control of that aspect of freedancing.
They did have a couple of small trips, and it looked almost as though her nerves were getting to her. We saw her in practice the other day, and she was having a really tough time. She actually hit the... There we go. She actually hit the boards a couple of times, and I think that she does have a problem with her nerves.
It'll be interesting to see how the judges handle that, because we haven't seen any change of order so far in this dance competition. They've led all the way. There's Natalia Linacek, the coach, and the first set of marks for technical merit. Consistent across the board, up to a 5-8 from the German judge. 5-7, 5-8, 5-6, 5-5. Those are the highest marks we have seen so far. All first-place marks, but their main contenders will follow. And the artistic impression marks even higher, up to those 4-5-8s for the leaders, Anissina and Averbuhk of the Soviet Union.
5-8, 5-8, 5-8, 5-8, 5-7. Yaroslava Necheva, Yuri Chesnichenko, the L'Union Soviétique.
This couple has an outside chance of catching Anissina and Averbuhk for the gold. Yaroslava Necheva, Yuri Chesnichenko from Moscow, both 18 years of age. They've been second through the compulsory dances and the original dance.
Well, the results tend not to change very often after the free dance. But if anybody's about to catch the first place team, I think it will be this team.
Of this program, I must say that it's my opinion that this team compared to Anissina and Averbuhk do not have the intricacy of footwork nor the ease of transitions as they change position relative to each other, and I think the marks are probably going to reflect that difference. I just don't think these two programs are comparable. I think the previous one was certainly superior. Smoother, yes, but I think it's a direct result of the fact that the steps are not nearly as intricate or complicated. It just never ceases to amaze me the depth that the Soviet Union has in this particular discipline.
As I was watching this team, I was really reminded of Klimova and Ponomarenko, former world champions. The crowd really seems to like this team.
You know, sometimes the dance competition you should judge with the applausometer, and they seem to get the louder ovation from the fans here.
But they certainly are a striking couple on the ice. They create a look, and they have an appearance that certainly is attractive to the eye.
Of course, there's many dance aficionados here that's not very far away from the Duchesne's hometown of Aylmer, where they hone their skills. Well, we mentioned that Anissina and Averbuhk had first-place marks right across the board, but there was room for Necheva and Chesnochenko. Here come the technical merit marks. 5-8 from the German judge, and he has them ranked ahead of Anissina and Averbuhk.
5-6, 5-8, 5-3, 5-4. Marks for artistic impression.
These are the key marks now. 5-9 from the German judge. But the 8 other judges have Necheva and Chesnochenko ranked second. So Anissina and Averbuhk continue to lead.
5-4, 5-6, 5-7, 5-9, 5-7, 5-5. Martin Michaud, Sylvain Leclerc,
What an ovation for Martin Michaud and Sylvain Leclerc. They hope to finish in the top 10 here in their first international competition, and they will start the free skate in 5th place.
Sylvain and Martin were commenting to me today about their practice this morning. They practiced with the Soviets as the top 5 teams practiced together this morning. They said the practice was very intense, and even at one point the Soviets came around the corner and he ended up with an elbow in the jaw.
Interesting that the Soviets have given us performances which one would regard as much more traditional in terms of costume and selection of music. Martin and Sylvain, on the other hand, have used what I would describe as a little bit more new wave music, a little bit more free-flowing, a little bit more abstract. And it's one of the interesting things about ice dancing, that the same competitors in the same event can use so strikingly different music and choreography. Crowd favorite here, and as you can see by the flags flying in the stands, they must certainly feel as though they've had a nice skate out here tonight. Things apparently went well for them, and it'll be interesting to see how they fare against the balance of the top 5 here in this competition.
Well, I really liked the free dance. I thought that it really built throughout the program, towards the end of the program. I thought they performed it really, really well. And you have to remember, this is the first time this team has competed at an international level, and they're sitting in 5th place, which is really incredible.
Barb, as a contrast of experience, they had completed 1 year together when Anissina and Averbuhk won their first World Junior Golds. Marks start with the 4.9 and work their way up to 3 5.3s. And it looks like those marks will keep them behind the two Soviets, but they're not going to lose any ground with marks like that either. And the second set of marks even higher. So right now, Michaud and Leclerc of Canada are in third, and it appears that they will finish at least as high as fifth place, and that's terrific for their first international competition. While it should be no surprise that there are 3 Soviet couples in the top 5. This is Elena Grishina and Rushan Goncharov. They're from Odessa. Elena's 16 years of age, Rushan's 18, and they currently stand in 4th place.
Criticism about just where the sport is going. It appears as though at the past few senior world events there's been some program or a number of programs that have been highly criticized as to whether or not they really are ice dancing. Here at the junior event, I'm surprised. It appears as though none of these teams are following that controversial lead. All of these free dances have been more in what we would consider the traditional free dance vein. And I'm wondering if these skaters are the ones who have heard those criticisms and really don't want to be part of that.
The other team had. It seemed very monotone, and I didn't get involved with the performance.
No, I felt it seriously lacked emotion. I just didn't feel as though they captured this audience in any way, shape, or form. And as a result, it was well skated, but lackluster. We often underestimate when watching these performances how important the music is. It's so often that a music can make or break a skater's event depending upon what he has selected for his particular program.
This is the couple that will challenge Emily Dion and Alexandra Alain for a medal in 4th place, and there are the marks. Below is from the Canadian judge of 4.7 up to 5.4 from the German judge. Anissina and Goncharov appear to be set to move ahead of Michaud and Leclerc of Canada. We'll wait for the second set of marks, and there they are. So Grishina and Goncharov have moved ahead of the Canadian couple into third place. So right now the Soviets stand 1, 2, and 3. But there's still a Canadian couple to come.
5-3, 5-6, 5-4, 5-3.
This is the moment for Amélie Dion and Alexandra Alain. They come into the free skate in third place, seeking Canada's 7th medal in World Junior Dance Competition.
Reaction to the first minute is that this couple is tight. I don't know whether it's the pressure of currently sitting in third position, knowing that their performance here will make or break whether or not they remain in third position, the hometown crowd, or just what it is, but they appear tight. I mentioned earlier they look tight. I don't think they ever relaxed out there through that entire program. And for an ice dancer, that's not good. Ice dancers rely heavily on nice, limber, flexible knees. And when those knees aren't working for an ice dancer, they're in trouble. I don't know, but during the course of that performance, I counted 2 or 3 times where I thought they were almost into the boards. Whether they lost their parameters out there or just the nerves got to them, it's hard to tell.
Well, they described their free dance today as a traditional approach to a modern dance, and it was to very futuristic music. And I felt with the futuristic music, it's very tough to bring emotion into that type of music. Her face really lacked emotion throughout the performance, unfortunately.
Well, the big question, can they hang on to third and Dubray and Bruno Ivar 2 years ago won a bronze medal for Canada in this competition. And it all comes down to this next set of marks, and here they are. They have a second-place mark from the Canadians and a string of third-place marks, so they will finish third, and it's a bronze medal for Canada and for Emily Dion and Alexandra Allen. The comeback is complete for Anissina and Averbuhk as they win the gold medal. Soviets also second. After an 8th place finish last year, Dion and Allen move up 5 spots for the bronze.
But at the beginning of the year, we were expected to be in the top 5. But 2 months ago, we decided to be in the top 3.
Emily, you're not too far away from where the Ducheneys grew up and became such great skaters. Were they influential in your career at all?
Sure, but because they are very
Innovator.
and we like that.
What's next?
What's next? Next is the division and after the Canadian for this year. And we'll go year after year, so...
Good luck and congratulations.
Thank you.
And a disappointing result in the original program for Canadian Nettie Kim.
Yes, well, Nettie had a very respectable showing here in the original program, but the fact that she made one small error during her short program in a field of very clean performances leaves her in 16th position.
Chris, the biggest development in figure skating has been the importance of the original program. You can't win the competition with a strong showing in the original, but you can certainly lose it, because with a bad performance, you take yourself right out of contention.
There was also a piece of history in the original program. Tanya Lauterbach competed for South Africa. She is the first sanctioned athlete to compete internationally for that country since 1960. Tanya finished well back, but just her being here was certainly noteworthy. We begin our coverage today with 2 unique performers and rising international stars, Lou Chen and Natalie Craig. Here's a young lady that captured our attention at the European Championships last year in Sofia. She finished 15th, but she showed us world-class spins, and even in the warm-ups here, the crowd was applauding her tremendous spinning ability.
Well, Natalie hasn't quite mastered the triple jumps or even the double axel. She's had problems with the double axel in the warm-up. But boy, watch her spin.
She opens nicely with the double up, double loop combination, which fulfills one of the required elements in this short program.
As you can see, she had a lot of problem with that double axel. That she did that exact same thing twice in the warm-up. But here we go. Take a look at this. Performance is the energy that she gives off. Here's another look at one of her spins. She just
performance. Energy, the rest of the elements were completed nicely, and no doubt the best spinner in this competition.
Well, I think once this girl learns how to jump, she is going to be a contender because she has everything else that goes with it.
That includes charisma. She certainly has captured this audience here in Hull.
As you can see in this replay, she's got to have unbelievable flexibility to hit some of these positions, and she manages to hit positions that most girls could never even attempt to achieve.
You can see where she's sitting on her blade. Her boot never moves from the spot. You can see she doesn't travel at all on her spin.
There's no question that is her trademark, and yet as she left the ice, she looked disappointed.
Well, I think probably for her, one of the goals in this particular performance was to do that double axel. Everything else was skated well, cleanly, and obviously it was her goal in this skate to do that double axel. It didn't happen, and she's concerned because of it.
Warum hast du diese Dreie gemacht nach dem Akkord? Ja. Hast du dich nicht getraut zu springen? Ja. Kannst du nicht fahren.
They also had three
Well, the marks for required elements are not putting a smile on that face.
No, Chris, I think her goal in this program was to land that double axel. It didn't happen. She obviously had her heart set on doing it, and that was her goal out there today, and she's not pleased because of that.
Well, to her credit, she knows what her strength is, what her trademark is, but she knows she has to improve. Those marks are better for presentation. Up to a 5-6 from the Italian judge, and right now Natalie Craig of Switzerland is in fourth place.
Republique Populaire de Chen, the People's Republic of China, Lu Chen.
Lu Chen took this competition by storm and by surprise last year at the World Junior Championships, coming out of Northeast China, and for many coming out of nowhere to win the bronze medal. This year she's back and certainly a contender for the gold.
Well, like Nettie Kim, Lu Chen has really grown. She's had a real growth spurt this year, and I think she's had a little bit of trouble getting the balance on her jump.
For that, and we call it a waxel. And what happens is you do not get over your left takeoff foot, your right leg comes through, and you leave your body behind. It could potentially be a very dangerous fall, and it has taken her what was supposed to have been her combination right out of the picture so far.
That really is stunning, Paul, because while awaiting the marks for Letitia Hubert, she came out and did the combination. And that I found was unusual. Perhaps she should have saved it for the program.
Well, as Barb mentioned, she has been struggling. We saw her at Skate Canada, really didn't skate very well there. She also attended Skate America a few weeks before that. And one has to wonder if trying to squeeze in this many competitions in such a short time frame has taken its toll. She's maybe not had the time to train as opposed to just competing. So this is going to be interesting to see what kind of marks come up, because in the competition here, the ladies have skated fairly strong, fairly complete programs, and by totally missing that combination, here we see her attempt it. She's setting up, and her right foot comes through, and you see how far behind her body is. She just doesn't bring the body through as a unit and misses the combination completely. She can receive no credit for either the first jump or the second jump. Here we look at the single axel. She sits on it, brings the free leg through, and does it. But it was too late at that point for her combination.
I thought that she might have tried to throw the combination in at the end, but it just didn't look as though she was sure of herself out there.
Well, it will be interesting to see what the judges do with this, because last year there was no reputation for the judges to base past performance on. They know that she is one of the top flight skaters here, but her emotions are written on her face. You mentioned all of the competition she competed in. I think they were following the lead of Saria Bonnelly last year. She also was very busy, and it worked to her advantage.
I don't think a lot of these skaters are up to, especially this young lady who apparently goes home between competitions. And when you just put in the travel factor alone, I think we're seeing it on her face right now. It has certainly taken its toll.
Well, the tears welling up in her eyes. I asked where they were staying during this very busy stretch for them, and they said, no, we've gone home to China. So you can imagine coming over for Skate Canada, then Skate America, and now the World Juniors. And although those marks are not high, I think that under the circumstances, they should be reasonably satisfied.
Having totally missed the combination, I'm quite surprised, because those marks look like they're going to keep her in the top 10, depending on her artistic.
Well, the presentation marks are higher, and so Lu Chen, who was seen as a gold medal candidate here, is currently in 6th place after a disappointing original program. By the end of the day, Americans Lisa Irvin and Joanna Ng were 1-2. Lu Chen had slipped to 9th place. Natalie Craig in 12th. Now to Brian Williams at Sports Weekend. Here's the lone Canadian in the junior ladies competition, Nettie Kim, a grade 10 student from Willowdale, Ontario, who must wonder a little bit what she did wrong yesterday. I didn't think she skated particularly poorly in the original program, yet she finds herself in 15th place.
Well, what happened yesterday was the fact that the ladies here at the Junior World Competition skated some rather superb original programs. There were some very, very few mistakes, and Nettie had a small one. She turned out of her double foot jump, and as a result finds herself sitting in 15th.
She just opened with a very beautiful triple Salchow. She came into this competition with her coach hoping to make the top 10. It's going to take a great performance to make the top 10 now.
Doesn't strike me as being a very aggressive skater, but the way she's fought to hang on to those last 2 jumps shows me that she really has got the determination that she needs out there.
She has one more triple plan, which is a triple toe loop. Nice jump.
There's little sections like the one we just saw into the switch-up where the arms are just hanging down. And that makes a difference here in this competition because poise and attitude are so critical, and they have to hold it throughout the performance if they really wish to get some nice marks here.
Well, I'm sure Nettie will be very pleased with that performance. She had one touchdown on the triple sow cow, but she did complete 2 triples, and I think she'll be very happy with that.
Well, a top 10 finish was her goal. However, the standard of this competition has been extremely high. And we see here her triple sow cow, nicely executed. But Nettie certainly is in the hunt and well within the standard at this event.
Here's a look at that triple toe loop towards the end of the program. She lands a little far forward on the toe, but she pulls it off nonetheless.
Certainly getting some great support from the crowd here at the Robert Curtin Arena in Hull.
Here's her coach, Bob Emerson. He was telling me earlier this week that Nettie has grown quite a bit in the last year, and she's had a little bit of problem adjusting to the new height in the jump.
You can just see from her reaction she feels a lot more positive about that performance than her original program. And here come the marks for technical merit. Up to a pair of 5.0s from the Canadian and Belgian judge. 15th coming into the long program. And the skaters ahead of her are still to come, so we won't know for some time whether she'll move up. There are the second set of marks for artistic impression for Nettie Kim in her first international competition, currently 15th.
Lu Chen.
Perhaps the biggest disappointment of the original program was Lu Chen, last year's bronze medalist, placing 9th, so she's got a lot of room to pick up here. And it'll be interesting to see what Lu Chen we get, the one that appeared burned out during the original program or the one on the verge of international prominence at the senior level that we've seen in the last year.
Triplets. It was jumped very close to the boards there.
Disappointing performance in her original. However, here in the long, she's off to a very nice start early in this program.
She just seems to have so much more confidence today than she had yesterday. Yesterday, she just appeared emotionless, and today she really feels like she's really going for it. jump. Paul, I'm not only impressed with the fact that she's a great triple jumper, but she seems to have a really nice program. Has a nice layout, and she's very good with her arms and her upper body.
Well, Barbara, I saw her perform her long program at Skate Canada about a month ago, and she had a very poor skate there, and this looks like an entirely different young lady out there tonight. We've seen here this evening, this is by far the most complete, it's by far the most technically difficult, and I'm quite impressed. She really must have gone home after the original and thought she had something to prove, and she's out here proving here tonight with that triple sow followed by another double axel. Just an outstanding performance.
Paul, this is a program that can compete at the senior world level, let alone the junior world level.
Even a triple right at the 3.5-minute mark, and that may bring them to their feet. It is. Here in Hull, what a performance by Chen.
People are getting on their feet, and her face, as soon as she finished, she just broke out into this huge emotional smile. It's obviously something she's been waiting a very long time for, and she certainly did it here tonight.
I don't know about you, but I got the chills at the end when I saw her face.
She's just ecstatic about the fact that she pulled it all together. I mean, it's something, like I say, that she's been waiting for a long time as you watch this triple Lutz open her program. Certainly a thrill for this young lady.
An outpouring of emotion from the crowd, and now from Chen. Boy, sometimes we forget that these athletes are, in many cases, 13, 14 years of age. She's had a setback, but oh, how she's responded. And I'm not sure if a medal's completely out of reach. She came in 9th. It's a tall order, but here come the marks, and you've heard the explosion from the crowd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8.
Well, we saw a face of distress after the original program. Here we're seeing a face of absolute delight on this young lady.
Here come the second set. Not as high, but first place marked right across the board, and she responds to this warm and enthusiastic crowd at Hull. We're going to see her perform for years to come.
The United States, Joanna.
Well, the plot thickens in the junior ladies competition. Joanna Ng from Woodland Hills, California, is in second place, but she injured her hip in practice this morning. Paul and Barb, clearly she was hurting during the warm-up.
Definitely, she looks like she's having problems in her jumps. And it's unfortunate because yesterday in the short program, I would say this had to be the highlight of the afternoon, this performance.
interesting when one is injured, because sometimes when you've got an injury, it forces you to concentrate even harder because you fear that your injury is going to hamper your performance. And as a result, sometimes you go out there and skate better than you might have did had you not had some sort of small nagging injury.
That's unfortunate. Let's hope that she can pick this up again.
Oh, she's hurt. She has just fallen right on, I think, the very spot that she injured earlier today in practice. And it's going to be interesting to see whether she can actually pick this up. She has really got a look of pain on her face.
How about this 13-year-old's courage? She's going to continue.
Well, I'm sure she even considered not skating, but sitting in second place after the compulsories. I'm sure she just wanted to get out here and give it her best shot. Look at that smile. It's amazing.
Barb, it's remarkable because there was a long discussion before she came out. She keeps jumping on it.
No matter where she finishes in this event, she'll always be remembered for going through and completing this program. But for Joanna, it will probably haunt her for a long time, knowing that going into the long program, she was sitting second, and because of her injury, she may now not stay on the podium.
Wow, that program was sheer guts.
I don't know if they've got a color medal for something like that, but she deserves something special. Joanna Ng of the United States, and I'm sure she's just happy to get to the kiss and cry area.
So here we're going to look at a triple sow cow. She gets up nice, little bit of a lean, and you can see because of the lean, and when she falls, she lands right on her left hip.
But you could see on the landing also, she just didn't seem to have the strength in her hip joint to be able to pull that jump through. There's her coach with her, Frank Carroll.
She and Frank had a long talk down in the corner prior to Joanna starting this program. And I'm sure one of the things they discussed was whether they would or would not skate this long program.
Her coach told her just to smile, but I'm not sure that's that easy.
There will be other championships and other days.
You can see Frank Carroll telling her that there will be other times, but that's kind of hard to listen to when you're sitting there knowing that you could have stayed on the podium had you skated as well as you knew you could.
Well, her coach trying to see a silver lining. And we certainly have seen the character of Joanna Ng, the youngest and the smallest competitor in the junior ladies competition. But certainly no measure of her courage. She's still trying to flex that left hip.
Well, it certainly is a character-building experience, if anything.
Now, how do the judges take all of this into consideration?
Well, as we can see by the length of time it's taking for these marks to get up, they're obviously giving this some serious thought as to the quality of the performance and just where they think she should finish.
While they're not very sympathetic, and those marks reflect the problems that she had, but they really don't underscore what she went through out there. I think we can understand understand why they're not really glued to that scoreboard. The scores in Joanna Ng's case really don't matter. Well, that will knock her out of the medal race. And Nettie Kim of Canada just moved up another place as Joanna Ng moves out of the medals. Here is the leader after the original program from the United States, Lisa Irvin, trying to become the 7th American junior lady to win a gold medal here, hoping to join the ranks with the likes of Tiffany Chin, Rosalind Summers, Elaine Zayak, and Christy Yamaguchi.
Well, Lisa has a very tough program planned. She has approximately 5 or 6 triples planned in the program.
She also has a very difficult job ahead of her because she knows how well Chen has skated. She knows the kind of marks that came up for her, and she's going to have to go out here and skate to stay on the top of that podium. That's a good example right there. An excellent triple toe. She stayed up on that triple flip, but I'm sure in the replay we're going to see that she two-footed it.
Is the fact that she's come out here and she looks as though she owns the ice. She's very confident and she's approached her jump with no caution whatsoever. It looked like she hit the end of her blade and just couldn't hold on to it. Halfway and just didn't look over top of herself at all. Again, an unfinished triple jump. She came out here looking gangbusters and really has gone downhill since then.
Whoa, this is obviously not in the game plan. There was a simple, not simple, but a double latch, a relatively simple jump that she sat down on, but she comes back and pumps that double axle pass, and I think it's going to be interesting to see whether what she did early in her program is enough to keep her in first place.
She was the gold medalist 2 minutes in, and then something happened, and this remains a wide-open competition.
Well, I must say that I did enjoy the program. Here we are in replay going to look at a triple flip jump. And I thought earlier she had two-footed it, and yes, you can see that when she lands, her right foot is on the ice as well as the left foot crossed in front. A two-footed landing on that triple flip.
Here's a look at a triple toe loop. And she just looked very, very low on the landing and couldn't pull it through.
We see her sitting there with her coach, Carol Heiss, former Olympic champion. And I must say, I did enjoy the program. I thought Lisa had an excellent selection in terms of music and thought she interpreted it very well.
Set of marks, and the highs come from the Canadian and Belgian judges.
Well, what's really amazing here is that we really have no idea who's going to win this competition. This so rarely happens.
And there are the second set of marks, and what's amazing, Lisa Irvin may win the gold medal, but she doesn't have a first place mark for her long program up there. So she'll have to sit back and wait. Well, it's a wide open competition, and Letitia Hubert could take advantage of these circumstances. Currently in third place, she has finished sixth the last 2 years at the World Junior Championships.
Well, I have to wonder if these final skaters in the competition know what has happened out here and the possibilities of what they could do. Loop, but has come back nicely to land a triple toe loop combination. That was not a nice fall on that triple flip.
Difficult triple jumps, especially when they look up at those competitors who are skating at the senior level. However, at this level, I sometimes wonder whether the coach has made a bad decision in having some of these girls attempt such difficult technical elements, thus denying their skater the opportunity to have a good skate and turning it into a confidence builder, as opposed to one that doesn't go quite as well as maybe it could had they left the difficult triples out. time again this evening from these ladies, and they're trying to skate a jam-packed program. And I'm one of the people who believe that sometimes it's better to take one step back to go 3 steps forward. Here we're going to look at one of her more successful efforts, the triple toe. Nicely landed, 1-foot landing, up into the double toe. Our second replay is going to show us one of her not-so-successful efforts. This was the attempted triple flip jump. She's on a lean. She doesn't get out. Doesn't even start to break out by the time she's hitting the ice with her feet.
You know, Paul, we started the evening talking about Nettie Kim, who skated pretty well during the original program, but everybody else skated better. But it's a funny sport, and the next night, all of a sudden, everybody starts to fall.
Well, Nettie's performance is an example of the thing I've been talking about, in that she didn't have the program packed with difficult triples. She just executed well what was in her program, and as a result, we've seen her move from 15th to at least an 8th place finish here tonight.
You can see the disappointment etched on Letitia's face. Here's an experienced skater who had a chance to win this competition. She's skated at the European level, at the World Championships last year, at the senior level, at the league. And I thought she might seize the moment. And those scores may indicate she has seized the moment. Much higher than I think we anticipated.
Certainly higher than I would have given her credit for.
What I did notice about the program was she really seemed to gain strength towards the end. And I have to give her credit for trying those triples. She's a very gutsy skater.
Barb, the judges have given her credit. Those marks, 8 second-place marks for the long program, put her into first place ahead of Lisa Irvin and Lou Chen. A remarkable junior ladies competition for the second year in a row. France wins the gold. This year it's Letitia Hubert. And for the second straight year, it's Irvin the silver, Chen the bronze. It's been quite a week of competition here in Hull. Barb, your thoughts?
Well, Chris, I've just been amazed at the difference since the 1978 championships that we skated in the depth and the quality of the great skaters here.
Paul? Chris, my biggest impression would have to be the performance of our Canadian team. With 2 medals and a top 10 finish in all 4 events, it means we can send an additional 6 members on next year's team to go after more medals at this event in Seoul.
I think I'll remember Lou Chen. She won a bronze medal in the junior ladies event, but certainly a gold medal performance in her long program.